Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to European Truck Simulator 2. And welcome back to Edirne in Turkey. Found a job going to Istanbul. We've got to drive about 90 kilometers to pick it up. It's a load of plums. And then from there it's about 180 kilometers into Istanbul. So that should be just about right for a 30-minute video. We've got 5 hours to get there, and it will take about an hour and a half. Game time, not real time. So we're going to hop in here. Brakes is off. Put her in gear. Lift axles is up. I think we're good. Now that says... okay. Does that... it looks like that says turn left. I suppose. Alright. I'll just do what the map says. I'll follow the GPS to my doom. I don't know how I feel about stories like that. I mean, it sucks. Obviously, it sucks. You don't want anybody to have, that kind of a bad day. But I do wonder about people that, follow their sat-nav and when it tells them to drive off a cliff. I don't know. Who knows how things happen. So we've got 2 working gates here. We just pulled through a working gate to get out of the yard. Interesting. All right. So, right, it is, what is it? It's Sunday for me. It's Monday for you. I am a little bit under the weather. I have to say, I got a bit of a cold coming on. It doesn't happen too often, but it does happen. Now, the cool thing about my metabolism is I don't stay sick for very long, but whatever the total intensity of sickness that I am due for, right? Like whatever's coming my way, I get the full amount of it. I just seem to get it in less time. So if I'm meant to be very sick, I'll be very sick for like 36 hours versus some people can be, kind of sick for like a week. I won't be sick for a week, but I will be, it'll be miserable. That's just the way it works out. But fortunately, it doesn't happen too often. Right, so what is going on? Man, I'm having a blast. I'm having a blast gaming in 2020, even though it's only been like 3 days, 4 days. It's a hoot, man. It's awesome to have this new tower. I am glad that I got it. I'm even glad about the delay because I wanted to get it a year ago. Not this particular one, but just anything. I wanted to get a new system, and I didn't. I held out, and, things work out the way they're meant to work out. But I'm so happy with it, and it's allowed me to go back and revisit a lot of games that I bought and tried on the gaming laptop and just wasn't getting a great result from them. It's allowed me to go back and fire up some of those and just see the way they look. It's allowed me to take a look at some older games. It's just been a blast. So this year is really starting off strong. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it holds up. And what else is going on? It's going to be kind of a slow couple of months in gaming. I think it's going to be particularly slow for sim gamers. I know there are some big titles that are supposed to drop in late February, early March, but really nothing till then. I think industry, business in general, is mindful of the fact that in January and part of February, nobody has any money paying all them credit card bills. Got a bit of a hangover from holiday spending. So nobody's going to be buying anything anyway. There's no point really releasing big, new, expensive titles. And most companies and most businesses don't roll anything out that time of year. But February and March, looks like there's going to be some big AAA titles dropping. They don't really... I don't want to say they don't do it for me, but I have such a specific... I don't even know what to call it. I have a very specific type of AAA game that I like, and there's really not that many of them. I think that's one of the reasons that I've been so disappointed with some of the titles that I've been playing over the past year or 18 months that are outside of the sim genre, because I've really got not just a specific type of game that I like, but then a specific way that I like to play it. AI in gaming fascinates me. Now in sim gaming, AI, we've got some pretty structured tasks that we need our AI to do. We need them to drive trucks. We need them to drive race cars. Occasionally we need them to do things around the farm. But it's pretty straightforward. More or less we tell... Ooh.
Go straight on.
more or less we tell the AI what we want it to do in some scenarios, or we just have an understanding and expectation of what we want it to do. How would you describe that? Is that cooperative AI? That's AI that we're working with, or that is working around us. Oh, that's cool. Crane in traffic. I love it. And then you get into other types of AI, things that you see more in any type of game or sim with conflict in it, where the AI is doing things that you don't necessarily want it to do, but it still needs to be sort of, I don't know, within the realm of what a real person would do. You don't want it to go completely buck wild. Then that doesn't make any sense. So I guess the transition between the AI that we expect in a AAA shooter and the AI that we expect in, I don't know, a race sim, maybe? Maybe the race sim is the transition, because a race is, there's some conflict there, right? You're fighting against the AI. You're not necessarily working with them. But they still need to do things the right way. And depending on what level you race at, they really need to do things the right way, or it becomes very frustrating very quickly. Things like braking. If you've got AI that is going to late brake while you're all in a pace line, they're going to rear end you, they're going to ram you in turns. Or just the opposite, if you're trying to brake a little bit later, if you're trying to push a little deeper, and you've got AI that's brake checking and being sort of erratic, you know, then that's no good, because now you're constantly ramming them. And it seems like most race sims have, even in single player, some type of safety rating or penalty or some negative result from making contact with other cars, which is a good thing. I like that.
Right. And then
But it's tricky when you're counting on the AI to do what a real driver would do, and it doesn't do it. And also, here we go.
Right.
Also, there's different ways to make AI, I guess, better or worse in something like a race sim. A bad way to do it is to simply slow them down, right? Take horsepower from them. Their skill is still the same. Let's get to neutral here. Neutral, like so. Set the brake and let's pick up our plums. Cargo market. Plums. Wow. 32,000 pounds of plums. That's a lot of plums. Okay. And we're taking that straight into Istanbul. Beautiful. Finally. We're going to make it. Okay. So we go here, and it looks like it's right up here somewhere. So yeah, that is a solution that some developers implement in race sims. It's to just take horsepower away from the AI. And it's frustrating because you just pass them on the straights, right? Pace with them through the turns, pass them on the straights. There's really no, I don't want to say no skill involved, but where passing occurs in real racing is in the turns. That's where the skill sort of manifests itself. So I think of that as, I don't want to say lazy programming. That's it sounds like I'm calling people out. I'm not, but it's not. I don't feel like it's the best way to necessarily concentrating. It's not necessarily the best way to make AI feel like real AI, or to give you more of a chance, or really even to develop your skills, because you're not practicing things like late braking. You're not practicing, trail braking and trying to hold a line side by side through a turn, and all you're doing is just being patient and passing one or two cars on every straight. Next thing you know, you're in the lead. So ideally, set brake, engine is off. Let's get loaded up. Ideally, AI feels like people. Feels like you're racing against other people. It really doesn't. Not very often. And I think that's the reason for the popularity of iRacing, is it doesn't need AI. It's got people. Even though iRacing is going to have a single player component, I don't know why. I don't know why they're doing that. I feel like their bread and butter has always been multiplayer. if I was running iRacing, I would not mess with AI. I would leave it alone. I don't think it can possibly be as good as the multiplayer experience. All right, so we're going to get our front lift axle down, or the lift axle on the truck, I guess. That's a better way to say it. Anyway, I would say that's the middle ground between cooperative AI, like you have in Farm Sim, and clearly oppositional AI, like you have in a shooter. It's AI in a race sim, you want it to fight you, but you also need it to do what you need it to do. And when you get into a shooter, when you get into that genre, it's a little bit tricky, because again, you want the opposition to make you work, and you want the outcome to be uncertain. That's something that I really like in gaming. When you don't know how things are going to turn out. If you know how things are going to turn out, what fun is that? It's a foregone conclusion. Uncertainty is fun. Am I going to win this race? Am I going to win this fight? Am I going to get this cargo delivered on time? That is, to me, that's what makes a game fun. One of the things. But within that uncertainty, you still need, I don't know, rules, structure of some kind. And I guess the next challenge for a developer is how to make AI, oppositional AI, how to make it good, but not so good that it, just wipes you out. And an example of that would be in a shooter, that the AI may try to flank you, but they're not going to call in an airstrike and just kill everybody. Well, you can't do that. Where did you get air support? That's not the rules. Well, that is real life, right? As much as possible, you want to use every sneaky secret advantage you have. Good generals say you try to win fights before they've even started. You don't want it to be fair. You don't want it to be equitable. You certainly don't want it to drag out for a long time. You want to end things as quickly as possible with as little damage as possible to your side. So sure, you cheat, for lack of a better word. Well, if you were to apply that in a video game, that's no fun. What just happened? How did I die? Oh, some secret weapon. Oh, that's no fun. So there need to be rules. And then within those rules, how far can the AI go, and how good do you want it to be? I mean, I personally want it to be very creative. And I do get, it doesn't work for me when people sort of meta a game. When you're in multiplayer in any game, but particularly in a shooter of any kind, when you see people bouncing or doing the chicken dance, and it's one of those things that you have to do it if you're in multiplayer or PvP, right? People will kill you. You have to do that, but it looks so ridiculous. But that's what you have to do. So, trying to bridge that gap and have a gaming experience that is not necessarily realistic, but immersive, fun, and challenging, and a lot of other things. There's really not too many AAA games like that really do it for me. And I've tried some of them. I thought I would love Watch Dogs because I really like technology, and I'm perhaps a little bit subversive, a little bit of a troublemaker. And so I really thought that I would like Watch Dogs, and I didn't care for it at all. I thought I would like For Honor. It wasn't tech enough, didn't have the guns and the drones and some of the other fun stuff that I like. So there's really not that many games that have really done it for me at the AAA level. And that's, I like to take a little break from sim gaming. Sometimes for quite a while, I'll take a week or two off from sim gaming. Sim gaming can be intense, man. I mean, this isn't. This is super chill and super awesome, and we're just driving our lorry full of plums through Turkey. That's awesome. Farming is very chill. Once you get into racing, I feel like that ticks it up a notch. And I know I've said this before. It sounds ridiculous every time I say it, but it's true. I can't believe how fast you have to go in racing. I've been watching racing my whole life, really. And I've driven a lot of high-performance cars. I've driven some, I don't know, club-level race cars. I've never driven like a proper race car, 800 horsepower race car. But I've driven some cars that are that are tuned well beyond street legal. And I've driven on tracks. I've done a lot of track days on motorcycles. And I do like going fast. But what fascinates me about racing and things like iRacing is realizing how fast you have to go. It sounds silly to say, well, it's a race. Of course you have to go fast. No, you have to go fast. You have to go like as fast as you can, maybe a little faster than you can go. And you have to do it lap after lap after lap after lap. And it's mentally draining. It really is. This fella on the right is doing, there he goes. It's mentally draining. It truly is. And it can be physically pretty demanding, longer races in iRacing. And the thing that fascinates me about it is you can't ever relax. You can't ever slow down. And I don't mean slow down dramatically. I mean just back the pace down from 101% to 99%. Back the pace down to a level where you don't feel like you could go sideways in every turn and every complex. You can't, because the second that you do, someone will pass you. And that's, I guess, the lesson of it is everybody is pushing everybody else to go as fast as they can. And the essence of racing, I know I mentioned this before, the essence of racing is just waiting for the other person's concentration to break, to snap, and they make a mistake. It doesn't have to be a big mistake. It can be a tiny, tiny little mistake. And that's all it takes. And you zip right by them. And of course, they're waiting for you to make a mistake. And that's racing. And so it's not necessarily what it appears to be. I mean, certainly there's the physical and mental skill of driving a race car, but a lot of it is that head game, which is true of most sport. Head game is so critical. They say in the United States that at any given moment, there's about 1,500 players in the NFL, American football. They say that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of more people in the United States that are physically capable of playing the game. Top tier college athletes, NCAA Division I athletes that were tracking for an NFL career. But there's a cut. There's continuously a cut. There's a cut from high school to college. There's a cut from college to the rookie, I guess, aspect of the pro league, the NFL. And then there's another cut between rookies and sticking with the team for 5 or 6 years. There's all these cuts, who makes it and who doesn't. And you start with a pool of, I don't know how many people play American football in U.S. high schools, probably 100,000 more. And every year, out of that 100,000, or however many it is, a few hundred people make it to the NFL. But they say the cutoff is the head game, that there are so many people that are physically capable of playing that sport, but not many of them have the head game. And in fact, they're cleaning up. They're trying to make the NFL safer, less damaging, particularly to people's brains. That's a good thing. I like that. I approve. I love the game. I want it to stay fun. I want it to stay awesome. But I don't want anybody to be hurt or killed, obviously. Not in the short term, not in the long term. I don't see a gate here. I think we're just going to breeze right through here and right up to the scale. So yeah, I completely support trying to make the NFL safer. But I also understand people saying, well, it's going to change the game. It's not going to be as fun. It's not going to be as exciting. And, I agree with that too. I think ultimately we need to go with, let's get down to neutral here. All right, have a safe journey. I think we're ready to roll, and we are. I agree that it might make the game less interesting, but I have to go with people's health. You're talking about people giving up their brain, really damaging themselves for our entertainment. That's not, you don't have to do that. Let's find a middle ground. Let's find a way to make the game interesting and exciting without people being damaged long term. But I heard a defensive back when this began to come about a couple years ago, a defensive back saying, if you take away my ability to hit people that hard, you take away my ability to win. And it was a very He's a bright guy. He wasn't talking about violence. He was talking about competition. And the reporter asked him to elaborate, and he said, we play for 60 minutes, and if I hit you the way I'm capable of hitting you, I'm going to make you start to second guess yourself. I'm going to make you start to worry. I'm going to give you anxiety. I'm going to break your mind, and that's how my team is going to win. If you take away my ability to break your mind by hitting you as hard as I can, I might not be able to. And to hear him lay it out like that part of the game is just surviving that level of punishment and abuse for 60 minutes without giving up. And to know that even at that level, there are some people that, it's like racing. Everyone is just working at their absolute limit. And to have an NFL player at their limit like that, and, that one hit, that one pop is going to be enough to not make them want to quit the game. I don't mean it like that. But at least for that afternoon, for that evening, they're done. They're not checking out, but they're just going to lose that 1%, that 2%, and now suddenly you have an advantage over them. So that's the head game. And the head game, I think, is a huge part of almost all sport, but certainly something like racing. And you see it, I think you see it more in NASCAR. I don't know why you don't see it as much in European sport, because that's European sport, European racing. It's certainly as competitive, and people are as motivated and passionate. I don't know, whatever word you want to use. They're all there. It's not. You can't tell me that American race drivers are somehow more into it than European drivers or Australian drivers. They're all equally into it. They're all competing at the highest level, and yet you do seem to see more retaliation in a series or a category like NASCAR than you do in Formula One. Although you do see some shenanigans. You see some people causing a ruckus in F1. They just tend to do it a lot more discreetly and then sort of act all innocent afterwards. But yeah, that's the red mist, and that's another part of it. That when you have people competing that hard with that much danger, for lack of a better word, motorsport is dangerous. It really is. There aren't that many race car drivers at the top level, the top tier, and every year a couple of them get killed. It is a lot safer than it used to be. Thanks to people like Jackie Stewart, I think, really got the ball rolling on that in the early 70s. It's a lot safer than it used to be. But it's like every time somebody dies, whatever class or category that person was competing in, the governing body needs to step back and take a look and figure out how to avoid anybody ever dying like that again. And they do. They make changes. And nobody ever dies like that again. But a couple years later, somebody dies in a whole new way, and then they need to repeat the cycle. So, make no mistake, motorsport is and always will be dangerous. Even if they go all electric, it's still going to be dangerous. It just is. All right, we got a little rerouting here. So you put all that together, the intensity of it, the competitive nature of anybody who's involved in sport at the highest level, all of it, you put all that together, and I think it's surprising in some ways that we don't see more retaliation, that we don't see more shenanigans. It's tricky for me in iRacing. It really is. It's tricky for me, not only, I wouldn't say that I want to ram people. You want to, but you realize, okay, I can't do that. That's a non-starter. That's not going to happen. Okay, this is just a toll. I saw the little icon for toll road, and I wasn't sure if we were pulling in here to get weighed as well. No. Oh, this is narrow. Wow, this is narrow. Oh. I think maybe that was not for trucks. That felt very narrow. What was I talking about? Something. Oh, in iRacing. Yeah, I'm not interested in getting banned from the service. But I've thought about, I have a button on my wheel where you can talk to the other drivers that are in your race. I've thought about deleting that button mapping, so there's no possibility of me saying some of the things that I think about saying, because that's not cool. And also there's kids in that sim, in that service. But if that's the level of emotional intensity that we feel as sim drivers, imagine the emotion intensity that a driver would feel when there's millions of dollars, when their career is on the line, right? When all that stuff, and the physical danger, which of course we don't have to deal with at all. So yeah, doesn't surprise me at all. But that's the name of the game in all sport, is just being able to work your opponent's mind, break them down, or break them down. That's a better way to say it. So yeah, why was I talking about that? What's his name again? I don't even remember. But yeah, I'm enjoying sim gaming right now. I have to say, I'm a little bit frustrated with my couple of AAA titles. So we're gonna go right over here. I guess we'll just flip around at this roundabout and head back the other way. We can't be too far from Istanbul. So we'll go through here. Is that a lane to our left? I can't tell if that's the lane or the fog stripe. Turn that off.
Exit
go
now.
right out here. There we are. So, something, AAA games, whatever. Fortunately, I've got all these amazing sim games to fall back on. It's weird for me to look through my Steam library and realize that I have every game I want. There are a couple in my wish list, but they're sort of, there's a reason they're still in my wish list. There's a reason that I haven't really... I guess that said bypass, because it's not... Yeah, that's the way station, and it's not routing us over there. I hope we don't get a ticket for blowing through there. Ah, alright, I think we may... Yeah, get a ticket. I was looking at the sat-nav, and it didn't have us routed over there, and the message went by too quickly. I couldn't tell whether it said bypass or go through. Well, that stinks. I hate to not be a good truck driver. Fortunately, it only cost us €700, and we've got, I think we're sitting on about 150,000 right now. Now, I did see, we're not really running any significant mods. We're in a base game truck. We've got the carry trailers by Cast. We've got some cosmetic mods, and then we've just got DLC. But we're not running any significant mods. We're not running the RJL Scania. Well, I was looking around, and you know how things happen. I gotta fight the mods. I could easily go crazy with the mods. I really have to make an effort. But I did see that the Pendragon, formerly Ohaha Volvo, has been patched up one more time to 1.36. I did see on the SCS Soft blog, forum, whatever, I did see Pendragon. Pendragon, his actual self, say, listen, man, it's the last time I'm doing this. I'll bump it up to 1.36, and then I'm done. I'm done. So that is available. I did bring it in. I didn't buy one yet. Set up the way I want. It's €350,000. So let's see what happens. Let's see if we have €350,000 before 1.37 is out. We may not. I want to say we're making about 25,000 per episode. So we may have enough to buy that. We may not before 1.37 comes out. But, there you go. There's some lights turning on. Those lights are turning on, so let's turn on our lights. There we go. So maybe we'll drive the Pendragon Volvo in 1.37. I have enjoyed this. I have enjoyed driving one truck for an entire episode. It was fun to build it up from nothing. It was fun to... The limitation, I guess that's a cool way to say it. The limitation, the challenge of it, is something that I've enjoyed. I don't necessarily want a fleet of trucks, and we end up with that too often. So this has been cool, and I'm really happy with the choice that I made. I do like this DAF. I didn't initially. When I first got the game, of course, the Scania. Everybody loves the Scania. It's an easy truck to love. It's a good-looking truck, plenty of power, and when you get the RJL mod, plenty of things to play with and build. And I was into Renaults for a while. That was before the T was available. It was just the Magnum and the other one. You know, the other one. But I was never really... I didn't dislike DAF. I just wasn't really into it. But it's treated us well. So yeah, we'll drive this through the rest of 1.36, and then perhaps we'll move into a Volvo for 1.37. We are in Istanbul. Holy smokes. Every time it happens, I'm always a little bit amazed. Because we started this, 2 months ago? When did this come out? 6 weeks? It came out a while ago. Mid-November, let's say. So almost 2 months. So yeah, almost 2 months. We've been making our way down across the road to the Black Sea, DLC, and now here we are, finally, in Istanbul. This is cool. It really is. I'm curious what parts of the city they have represented. You know how SCS does. They've always got the landmarks and the sort of iconic views, but they're always out on the far horizon. You can't actually drive to them, right? Like, you can't actually drive around London. I mean, you can, but you know what I mean? It's not, the good stuff is out on the horizon. They just sort of route you through a generic area, and that is called London. But I think that's the way it has to be. Man, could you imagine? Could you imagine if this game was 1-to-1? At least in the cities. Oh, that'd be fantastic. But it would take an hour and a half to get from one side of London to the other. Or Paris, or Moscow, or anywhere. So, I think this game has been really well thought out. I continue to be impressed by it. So we go right up through here, and we're at 32 minutes. We're just the tiniest bit long. I have been trying to drop off and actually like back in at the yard and not do a quick delivery. But depending on where we are when we get down here, time-wise, I may do a quick delivery one time, just one time. But we'll see. All right, this is cool. It really is. Man, where are they going next? Spain, Iberia. And I guess that's Spain and Portugal. If it was just Spain, they would have said Spain. So I'm assuming that is Portugal as well. I mean, it would have to be. All right. Wow, there are some scales in Turkey, man. They really want to know how much your truck weighs. All right, so we'll go over here. Stop at the truck scale ahead. Yeah, we won't miss this one. There it is. Beautiful. Kind of want to go third person, but it's a little tight. A little tight on this map. All right, so we'll go right through here. Ooh. A little hot pulling in. Right about like so. Beautiful. Get it down to first. All right, here we go. And it's looking like, looking at the sat nav, I think I see our turn down there to get off the highway. All right, yep, and there's our marker. Cool, we made it. Oh, man. Speed camera, naturally. What is this over here on the left? That looks significant. Whoa, see? So I can't go third person. That looks landmarky over there. Interesting. Right. Yeah, this all looks kind of landmarky. Interesting. Now, I'm curious about something. I'm curious how SCS is going to model
Right. And then exit.
some of the cities in Spain after what ProMods did to them. ProMods really made those cities kind of, in some ways, kind of ridiculous. I feel like they were having a good time. And I mean that in a nice way. Good for you. But I feel like they were really kind of pushing the limits. Because some of those cities were not only frame rate killers, but the amount of twists and turns and lefts and rights was just on the edge of being kind of annoying. So, curious if... I don't think SCS would do exactly the same thing, but I'm curious if they carry any of that over. I mean, is that the way Spanish cities are in real life? I don't remember that. I spent some time in that part of the world, and I don't particularly remember that. But we had a lot of hired cars, so you don't necessarily... You know, when you're not navigating, you don't always notice how crazy the street system is. Right through there. I think we're here. How are we doing on time? 35 minutes? Yeah, we'll just go ahead and back it in. I think we'll hopefully be under my hard stop, which is 45 minutes. Yeah, I've been seeing some weird... It's not necessarily pop. Everything is maxed right now in the sim as far as graphics. Including mirrors. Everything is pushed out as far as it'll go. I haven't necessarily been seeing pop in, pop out in the mirrors. What I've been seeing is sort of fade in, fade out. And I've also been seeing some lines, like markers on the street kind of disappearing. And I'm curious about that. I'm curious about a lot of things. I use that word a lot. It's because I'm curious about a lot of things. What can I say? So we'll go up here. Right, I'm going to get the lift axle up on the trailer. And we've got...
right, and then turn right.
We've got a right and a right. Okay. Good over there. Good over there.
Turn right.
Alright. That looks like a left. I think we're there. Beautiful. Now, is this... moment. No, it's down a ways. Okay. I was looking over here on the left, trying to figure out if they wanted us to go into the first one or the second one. Fortunately, neither one, because those looked a little tricky. This is way better. Here we go. Time? Yeah, we're okay.
Get ready to turn right.
Turn right. And I think I see it. Yep, I see it. Okay, cool. Well, we can't go straight, so this must be it. So we'll go right in here. Turn signal off. Lift axle up.
Arrive at your destination.
Third person. As always. Placement of vehicles designed to be as challenging as possible. I appreciate that. So we'll go right over here. Right about like so. Oh, God. 38 minutes. 38 minutes. Oh, game. No, it's not the game's fault. That's my fault. I thought I saw a fence, but we were directly above it. And by the time I realized I was actually seeing a fence, we were crashing into it. Oh my goodness. Portable gamer, what are we going to do with you? So, get our intentional jackknife going here. Oh, are you kidding me? One time we get it in one swing, and it's right after I hit the damn fence. Oh, it's always something in Truck Sim World. Let's straighten this out just the tiniest bit. Oh, that's interesting. There's even the little tire guides drilled down into the pavement. Details, man. I love the details. Right, that's better. That's straighter. Okay, cool. Well, other than smashing into the fence, so embarrassed. So embarrassed. Other than smashing into the fence, we did all right. Lights is off. Parking lights is on. Brake is set. Brake is set. So turn the engine off. Let's see how we did. There we go. On time. Looks like no damage. Got some XP there. Beautiful. There you have it, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of European Truck Simulator 2. We'll see you next time. Take care now.